Good evening. Here is the news at 6. First, the highlights. Governor Sanwo-Olu urges core members to contribute to nation building. Ogun State government revokes licenses of 20 private orphanage homes. And the foreign and Israeli soldiers besiege Jenin, West Bank as assault reaches fourth day. In sports, defending champion Novak Djokovic crashes out of U.S. Open. Now, the details. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has enjoined the core members deployed to the state to embrace good values in order to be able to contribute their quota to building the nation. He said they should embrace diligence, patriotism, courtesy, and networking during the period of their orientation. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by the Commissioner, Ministry of Youth and Social Development, Mobolaji Ogunlende, stated this at the official opening and swearing in of the 2024 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course. The governor also implored the core members to make the most of the orientation exercise by networking, making new friends, building relationship, having mentorship and entrepreneurship under the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development side initiative. Earlier in her address, NYC Lagos State Coordinator Yetunde Baderewa advised the core members to abide by the rules and regulations laid down for them while in the orientation camp, adding that all is aimed at making them good ambassadors of their fatherland wherever they find themselves. Lagos State Government, through its agency, Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, LASURA, has organized an enlightenment campaign on the submission of development lease agreement between LASURA, leases, developers, agents, and general public, particularly allottees, for the verification and completeness of records of properties managed by the agency. The enlightenment program, organized in conjunction with the Ministry of Information and Strategy, was held in different parts of Lagos Island, including Ereku, Enyeyo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ali, Balogun, Martins, Idumagbu Avenue, and Balogun Street. The Director of Estate Development, Odusonya Oluwafemi, who was represented, the General Manager, Oladimeji Animashan, advised the property owners and allottees to drop the agreement document at the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Urban Development, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Block 15, Alausa, Secretariat, Ikeja. They are to also submit copies of the Office of the General Manager, Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, PWD, Old Secretariat of Obakin Jobi Way, Ikeja, Estate Services Department, first floor, room 2, latest by Wednesday, 11 September 2024. He warned that failure to comply with the content of the notice may warrant revocation of the lease agreement by the agency. All is set for the commemoration of this year's Domestic Violence Awareness Month for the 1st of September, with the theme SGBV, Not in My Watch. Not on my watch, not in my Lagos. Speaking at a press conference ahead of the celebration at Alausa, Ikeja, Commissioner for Justice, Lawal Pedro, said the celebration is based on the compelling need to ensure that Lagosians realize that ending the menace of sexual and gender-based violence is a collective effort which requires the support and collaboration of all members of the society. Pedro, who was represented by the Acting Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Justice, Hamidu Yenuga, noted that the awareness campaign will kickstart on the 2nd of September with the Turn Alausa Purple campaign, where all public servants will adorn the color purple and also create an opportunity to decorate offices with purple ribbons at the various entrances of the Secretariat Alausa, House of Assembly gates, and Old Secretariat gates.
This year, the advocacy work takes place at local government where we have the low reporting. This will involve traditional rulers, community leaders, market men and women, religious clerics, and other relevant stakeholders in the community. And the purpose of the advocacy work is to educate and sensitize the citizens and residents of the state on the issue of sexual and gender-based violence, the available services the state has to offer in curbing the menace.
Earlier, the Executive Secretary, Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, Titilola Vaivo Adeni, noted that in the last 1 year, the agency received a spike in a heartbreaking report of abused children from Ajeromi Felodon Council area, while Alimosho Council area had been number 1 for violence against women.
If you see what we've done from 2019 to date, we have over 24,905 cases of domestic and sexual violence that have been reported officially. But we know that this does not even scratch the surface because these issues are some of the most underreported crimes, not just in Lagos, Nigeria, but globally. The fact that we even have data is a success. We are able to be strategic in our interventions. We know local government has reporting. We know how to target our interventions. And we also know local governments that have no reporting.
Other activities lined up include symposium, market fiesta, and advocacy walk in Lagos in local government areas where there are low reports involving traditional rulers, community leaders, market men and women, religious leaders, and other relevant stakeholders in the community. A co-man walk against SGBV, Governor's Award, among others. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has announced the tentative date to commence vaccination for monkeypox as October 8. Head of the Public Relations Unit at the NPHCDA, Remi Adeleke, who made this known, stated that the vaccine deployment will begin from October 3 to 6. Adeleke noted that the total population targeted in the 5 states affected is 4,750 persons who will receive 2 doses each, 88 days apart. He clarified that the target population is close to contact monkeypox cases, health workers, and persons with low immune status. Genius is a vaccine approved by the Food and Drug Administration for the prevention of smallpox and mpox in adults aged 18 years and older who are at risk of mpox infection. Now to the rest of the stories. Ogun State government has revoked the provisional licenses granted to 20 private orphanage owners operating in the state due to non-compliance with regulations and laws prioritizing the well-being and safety of vulnerable children in their care. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Adijat Adeleye, said this during a meeting with members of the private orphanage homes at the ministry's conference room, Okimoson, Abeokuta. Adeleye expressed displeasure over some private orphanage owners' activities, stating that the state would not tolerate shady practices involving illegal adoption, child trafficking, or maltreatment of children in their custody. She emphasized that orphanages should operate with empathy by empowering and caring for vulnerable children and not doing anything to compromise their safety. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, has revealed data showing student loan applicants by state of origin. Students from Kano and Borno State emerged as the front runners in the NELFund student loan applications. Kano State recorded 17,122 applications out of 20,814 registered tertiary students. Borno State followed closely with 13,798 students applying for the loan out of 16,353 registered students. Benue State ranked third with 11,754 of its 16,127 registered students applying for the student loan. These figures were shared on NELFund's X account, highlighting the distribution of registered student and subsequent loan applicants by state of origin. Israel's military is conducting raids in Jenin and the occupied West Bank, blocking access to aid for Palestinians in the besieged refugee camp on the fourth day of its assault. Dozens of Israeli soldiers were stationed on the Jenin refugee camp, with Israeli military jeeps and armored personnel carriers moving into the area. Israeli forces blew up homes in the Jabriyat neighborhood of the camp as they extend their largest assault on Palestinian territory in more than 20 years. Meanwhile, paramedics have tried to contact people in the camps, with telecommunications being blocked. In sport now, defending champions Novak Djokovic has suffered a major upset at the U.S. Open, losing to Alexei Popyrin, who ended the Serbian's bid for a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title. Popyrin defeated Djokovic 6-4, 6-4, 2-6, 6-4 in the third round at Flushing Meadow. Djokovic was uncharacteristically sloppy with 14 double faults, which is a record for him in a Grand Slam match, while his 25-year-old opponent smacked 50 winners. Napoli has removed Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen for its Serie A squad and also handed his squad number 9 to new sign-in Romelu Lukaku. The Nigerian was unable to secure a move away from the Serie A club on transfer deadline, despite strong effort by Chelsea and Al Ahly to secure his services. Osimhen has 2 years remaining on his contract. The move fell through when Napoli asked for more on the transfer fee, and Al Ahly decided to sign England international Ewan Tunney from Brentford, while Chelsea, on the other hand, was unable to match his personal demands. And that's it on the news at 6, but just before we go, maintain a adequate distance from the vehicle ahead of you to avoid collision. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that's the Sanwo-Olu administration provided 450,000 pupils with e-learning devices? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has enjoined the core members deployed to the state to embrace good values in order to be able to contribute their quota to building the nation. Ogun State Government has revoked the provisional licenses granted to 20 private orphanage owners operating in the state due to non-compliance with regulations and laws, prioritizing the well-being and safety of vulnerable children in their care. We also told you the Israeli military is conducting raids in Jenin in the occupied West Bank, blocking access to aid for Palestinians in the besieged refugee camp on the fourth day of its assault. Finally, in sports, defending champion Novak Djokovic has suffered a major upset at the U.S. Open, losing to Alexei Popyrin, who ended the Serbian's bid for his record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Adirayo Iduwalaya. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Thank you for listening. Good evening.